All right, so are you ready to dive into something crazy?
Yeah, let's do it.
The 2024 U.S. presidential election.
Yeah.
This was, talk about a total curveball.
Absolutely.
It had everything. A comeback story like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You got this tech giant basically calling all the shots.
Yeah.
And honestly, enough plot twists to make you think you're watching a movie, not like real-life politics.
Right.
But you know what this is about? So much more than just who ends up in the Oval Office, right?
Sure.
This is about ambition and power
Yeah.
and just how much influence one person can actually have.
Well, and it really kind of forces us to think about, like how much power and influence do these tech giants actually have now? Like, are we entering a whole new era?
I mean, that is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's rewind a bit. Okay. Back in 2020, Donald Trump loses the election, right?
Right.
Most people thought that was it for him politically. He was dealing with lawsuits and all sorts of controversies. But then just 4 years later, he wins the election in a landslide. 312 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 226. I mean, how did that even happen?
Well, Kamala Harris had a lot of support,
For sure.
I mean, you had Breonna Taylor Swift, Mark Cuban, even former President Obama. They all came out to support her.
It's true.
But even all of that wasn't enough to beat whatever force it was that brought Trump back.
And that force was Elon Musk, right?
You could say that.
But, this wasn't just some billionaire throwing money at a campaign. This was something else entirely. This was personal.
It definitely had that feeling to it.
It did.
You have to remember that Musk had this whole thing with the Biden administration back in 2021.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
He felt like he got snubbed. Tesla wasn't given a big enough role in this EV summit, even though they were leading the industry.
Yeah, they were the biggest player by far.
Right. And I think that really stung.
Okay.
And it made him want to prove that he had power and influence that went way beyond just electric cars.
So that's where Trump comes in. He picks Trump, someone who everyone thought was finished politically, to basically be his weapon in this revenge plot.
Exactly. Musk saw Trump as this, politically wounded figure,
Yeah.
but someone who still had a huge and very loyal following.
Right.
And that made Trump the perfect candidate to basically push Musk's own agenda because Trump would owe him everything.
Okay, but how did he actually do it? We all know Musk dumped a ton of money into the campaign. What was it, over 120 million?
Something like that, yeah.
But there had to be more to it than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Musk was really smart about using his control over Twitter to change the narrative.
Interesting.
So, for example, he launched this massive campaign that was all about highlighting, Tesla's innovations in green energy, right?
Sure.
But he did it in a way that kind of subtly made the Biden administration look bad.
Oh, sneaky.
It was pretty clever.
Yeah.
And it ended up making Tesla look even better. And it started planting these seeds of doubt about whether the Biden administration actually cared about climate change. And on top of that, he created this thing called the America PAC. Basically, it was this political action committee that he could use to pump even more money into the Trump campaign.
Okay.
And he did all these kind of unconventional things like offering people money, daily rewards just for supporting Trump.
Wild. Then you had the assassination attempt on Trump in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge turning point in the election.
Absolutely. After that happened, people started to see Trump differently.
In what way?
Well, Musk was brilliant about this. He immediately came out and said he supported Trump no matter what.
Right.
And he made it seem like Trump was this tough, resilient leader who wouldn't back down.
Yeah.
And that message really connected with voters, especially the ones who were already kind of on Trump's side.
So even with all the resources and endorsements that Kamala Harris had, she couldn't compete with what Musk was doing.
Nope. It was like Musk was playing a completely different game. He found all these loopholes in the campaign finance laws, and he used his connections and his platform to get Trump's message out there in a way that Harris just couldn't match.
That's crazy.
It's a masterclass in political strategy.
But it wasn't all about helping Trump,
Yeah.
right? Musk was making a lot of money during this time, too.
Oh, absolutely. Musk knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Every time Trump got closer to winning the election, Musk's influence and his wealth, they just went up and up.
It's almost like they were tied together.
It really was. It shows you that power and self-interest, they often go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, after Trump won, he created that Department of Government Efficiency
Yeah.
and put Musk and that entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy in charge of it.
Right. I mean, that was a huge move.
It was.
We've got this tech giant with no experience in government suddenly having all this power in the administration.
So what does all of this mean in the long run? We've got this political comeback that was basically orchestrated by a tech giant with a personal grudge and a desire for more power.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I think it raises some really important questions.
Yeah.
What does it mean for democracy when these tech giants have this much influence?
Right.
Is this just a one-time thing, or is this the future of politics?
I mean, those are questions we all need to be thinking about, especially as technology keeps changing the political landscape.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's going to be interesting to see what happens next, that's for sure.
it definitely is. This is going to be fascinating to watch unfold.
For sure.
Thanks for joining me today. This was
Yeah, this was a good one.
really interesting to break all this down.
Absolutely.
And to all of our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.